Hello and welcome to the video on Power BI. In this video, let us take a look at how we can perform what-if analysis in Power BI. For the purpose of this demo, the data set that I am considering is going to be AdventureWorks Data Warehouse 2020. So these are all the tables that I am currently having in my data file. So one new table that I've included is the expenses file. This I've included just to show how the expenses and the profits are varying with respect to the what-if analysis that we are going to do. So as a starting point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just have one visual where I'm going to see the sales by month. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to use the total sales measure against the month. So this is the visual that I'm currently having. So this shows the total sales by each month. I can also visualize it using a line chart, but for now let it be a column chart. So for performing the what-if analysis, all that you would be requiring is a parameter where you can change the value of the parameter to perform the what-if analysis. So this parameter can be created from the modeling section of this ribbon, wherein you will find a new parameter option. So here I'm going to click on numeric range. So it is going to create a new parameter. I can name the parameter as what I want, and I can set the data type. So in this case I'm going to set the data type to decimal number. The minimum value I want would be -20, maximum is going to be 20, and increment is going to be 1. So I will just change it to 0.2 to plus 0.2, and let me set the increment by 0.0, which means my lower value is going to be -0.2, highest value is going to be +0.2. In this case it's going to be percentage, so I'm going to say that it is -20% and it is +20%, and 0.01 increment is going to be a change of 1% as of change frequency. So once I click on create, this is going to create a new calculated table, and this calculated table is going to be having the name same as the parameter, and there's going to be two columns inside it. One is the growth percentage, which when I click you can see that it is the series. So whatever is the series generated, that's the content inside the growth percentage. And there is one more column called growth percentage value, which is going to do the selected value. So whenever we select something from growth percentage, that value is going to be getting stored into this particular growth percentage value. Also, whenever you add a new parameter, it is going to include a slicer here as well. So if you see here, this slicer has a range which extends from -20 to +20. So it is 0.19 as the top value and -0.2 as the lowest value. So in this case I want to see this as a percentage, so I'm going to change this formatting into a percentage. So at the back end it is still going to be -0.2 and +0.2, but on the forend, on the front end, it is going to look like -20 and +20. Yeah, so once now that we have the parameter created, we have the total sales information also available with us. Now let's see how do we make this sales to be forecasted for next 1 year, and that forecasting should be based on the parameter selection that we are going to do here. So for that purpose I'm going to create a new measure inside sales table, which is going to be for forecasted sales. And as I told you, since I want the forecasted sales to be available for the next 1 year, I'm going to use a date add function to do this. So I'll use calculate, and total sales is my measure, and I'm going to do in the filter condition date add. It is going to be dates, -1 is going to be my interval, and I want this interval to be by year. So this is going to create a new forecasted sales measure, and this measure, let us see how it is going to look when we pull into the same visual. So as you see, now we have this forecasted sales starting 1 year later to the time when we are having the sales. And for example, this July 2018 value is the same as the July 2017 value. So basically this year's sales is going to be next year's forecasted sales. So I'm pushing it by 1 here. Now that we have like this, so this is not a very great representation, so let's change it into a line chart now. So now as you see, this light blue line shows the total sales while the dark blue line shows the forecasted sales. But it might not be very meaningful to show forecasted sales and total sales for the closed period. So for the closed periods it is enough if we show the total sales. For the open periods it is enough if we show the forecasted sales. So for that purpose I need to just have one more filter here, so which I have already written and kept. I'm just going to copy this and utilize in my case. So what I'm doing in this filter is I'm just saying if my date is going to be, if my year is going to be 2020 and there is no sales value, then display the forecast, otherwise display the total sales alone. So now it looks like a single line chart, but if you see from the legend it is all forecasted amount. So it requires just a small change with respect to the way we are having the measures. I'm going to do a small change like this. Now as you can see, up to here you will see the total sales amount, and from here you will see the forecasted sales amount. So for this current month where we are for this current month until which we are having the actual sales, in this case the forecasted sales and total sales are same. Then going forward you will have the forecasted amount. So now that we have this forecasted amount, so how do we make sure that this forecasted amount is responding to the parameter selection that we are doing here? So for that purpose, if you see here, we are having one more filter here, one more addition to the condition that we already wrote. So where we are multiplying with 1 plus growth percentage of growth value. So this growth value refers to the growth percentage value column, which is the selected value in the parameter. So what we are doing is this 1 will refer to the actual value of whatever is coming out as an output for this, and then to this we are just going to add whatever is the selection that we are doing in the parameter. So for example, let's say that here it is minus 20%, right? If you see at the background it is minus 20%. So which means what we are doing here is we are doing 1 plus minus 0.2, so which is going to be 0.8. The output of this is going to be 0.8. Now if I change this particular value to something else, accordingly my growth percentage value will change. Let me pull that growth percentage value here for just to show purposes. So as you see here, my growth percentage value is minus 20, minus 0.2, and as I change the parameter here, it is also going to change here. Minus 15 is 0.15, minus 5 is 0.05, and plus 7 percentage is 0.07. So accordingly my 1 plus 0.07 is going to be 107 percentage. So that's how the forecasted value is also going to be changing. So I will also display the data values here so that it is clearly visible for us. I'm going to hide the data value for total sales so that we are displaying the amount value here. So let's say that I want to see what if my sales changes by 10%. What if I have a growth percentage of 10% in my sales? So the moment I change this, my forecasted value gets changed. And probably to make it more distinct, what we can do is like we can apply some formatting to the forecasted sales. So in this case I'm going to select forecasted sales and I'm going to change this solid line to dashed line. So now this says that the solid line is going to show that for total sales and the dotted line is that for the forecasted sales. So with any change in the growth percentage, you will see that the forecasted amount is going to change. So let's say that my growth for the next year is going to be minus 10%. I also have expenses projected for my sales, so which I am going to pull here. So if I pull it here, I will have to restrict the blanks because I'm not having expenses for the previous periods. Yeah, So this shows, the orange bar shows the expenses that is being projected for a particular time frame. So now we want to know what change is going to get impacted. So here what it says is, even if my sales is going to get down by 10%, even then I should be able to manage my expenses, because my expense for this particular period is 2.3 million, while my sales amount forecasted even after a 10% decrease in sales is 2.9 million. I should still be able to survive. So now one more measure let's bring in. So I want to see, with change in my forecasted amount, what's going to be the change to my profit. So in which case what I'll do is, like, I'll have one more visual here where I'm going to have the month and I'm going to have a measure called profit. So I'm going to use this profit forecasted measure. So in this measure, let me change it into a table. So if I go here, again I need to restrict the blanks here. Yeah. So now this is showing me the profit, and here the profit is calculated like total sales minus expenses. So if you see here, we have, for these periods we have expenses, but we don't have total sales, because for this period we are having only the forecasted sales. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to change this into forecasted sales amount, which we are calculating now. And what I'm going to do is, I'm also going to just restrict it to show only 2020. Yeah. So if you see here, we are going to show the profits that are adjusted for the forecast that we are doing here. Now let's say we want to see what is going to be my profit if my growth is going to be, say, 7% in the next year. So the moment I change, not just my trend here changes, but also my associated profit value. So like this, you can play around with this parameter in different places and in different ways. Our imagination is the only limit here. So I hope I was able to give a brief intro to how you can use the WATF analysis in Power BI. If you like this content, please like, comment and share for more such videos. Also do subscribe to get notifications for the same.